Hello and welcome, as it is the 21st day of February, and this trend remains intact. It is at the lower end of its range, in at the 18 average of highs that has been support about 1,000 times this year, and it is at that level right now. The resistance point, it's been making so many higher highs, usually barely above. Well, this one to this one was dicey, but does it have the room to go up another dime or so up to this level here? But the big thing is what's going to happen on the eventual break of this trend, because as long as this trend remains, it means slowly going higher, and we'll have $50 in about a year and a half. But on the break of either support or resistance is going to change it, as wild as it would be to the upside if it's so occurring. That's the rare situation. More than likely, you're either going to correct it with some sort of price correction lower or sideways movement. On the lower end, the Fibonacci retracement from this low and this high is going to be very important, but that will be when you start to see cautionary measures. And until it can at least test the 18 average of lows, that's your first test of caution in my book. So the trend, of course, is remaining higher. It is rebounded from its lows on the recent time frame, as the early morning has made the market move up to about this 18 handle. It's also short term doing better in Canada and Europe, but that's just for marginal amounts. Now let's finish this off within the Bitcoin chart that I was supposed to update. Give me a second. And there we have it. I don't know why it didn't originally save, so I had to quickly put it back up in my folder directory. Now that it's there, the breakout continues above the early February resistance. Thus, on any pullbacks, this would be the area I would consider to be support. On a move up to this level, there's okay chances of resistance. I think more likely, if it's going to resist, it would be a sideways movement. I still think it's going to be tough to just break right through it, although don't be surprised if it does. The more logical thing, or the more thing that would be ideal for me, would be a move here, back in here, and then on as it's breaking above it. I'm liking the chances it's then going to take it out, come up here, short term, maybe up to like 12, short term back down to here, and then midterm up to about 13, 1400, and then long term back to 1000, 1100. Meaning, again, just repeat that over again, because I even confused myself saying that. When it breaks around here, ideally, you want to see a breakout above to about 1900. So we'll make this, or 1190, I should state. So this would be 1190, and then come back to previous resistance, which would be in at 1140. And then from that point, breaks where over many days, finds a room up to wherever the key high is, where I say about 1400, and then let Bitcoin crash back down to this point here. In fact, I managed to get some data for every single time Bitcoin has lost half of its value, going back to the first time when it was 6.79 cents. This is Mt. Gox data. It's like a dinosaur company, and this is dinosaur pricing about 6.5 years ago in time. So 6.8 cents down to 3.7 cents, breaking on August 30th, 2 weeks later. And then after that, it hit 19 cents on October the 24th, and the next day it crashed, losing half of its value. A few weeks later, it went up to 50 cents, and then 2 days later, it went below 25 cents. And how this works is every time it breaks below, it makes a new high. So once it goes below 25, the new high is 25. And then it got up to 32 cents the next day on November the 9th. And the next day after that, it fell below 16 cents. And then after that, many months later, it went from 16 cents to $31.91. And a few days after that, it lost half of its value. However, the next day, it went from below 16 back up to 25. And it didn't lose half of its value until almost like 3 weeks. Pretty good. And then the next day it got up to 16 and a half, so 12 and a half to 16 and a half, and 2 days later it lost half its value again. And then 3 days later it went from below 8 and a quarter up to 12.10, and then a month later, that's progression, it lost half its value. Then it did it some more, got up to 15. And now that we're in 2012, I'm going to switch the exchange, which is spelt wrong, to the BTCE, which here, 770, then it got up to 259 without ever losing half its value. The day in which it hit 259 is the day it fell below half of that. So it did it intraday. Then the next day, after breaking below 130, it got up to 184, but losing half of its value 2 days later, on April the 13th. Following that, it got up to 155 a week and a half later, and this time it was 2.5 months before it lost half its value. Now that is progression right there. That's progression right there. Doing good. But this is where it went from 77 in June of 13 to 1100 in November of 13. Say what? Yeah, okay. And it lost half its value in a matter of 3 weeks, down to 547. So you go from 547 to almost 1,000 again on January the 6th. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. That's 3 weeks to double around. But then almost 2 months later, it lost half of its value. Then again, on March the 4th of 2014, which was a week after it broke 500, it managed to get back up to 700, but then it lost it again the month following. Then on June the 3rd, it got up to 668, where it was close to before, and then it lost half its value 4 months later. I'd use my fingers there to count that one. That's progression. 4 months to a crash. Good job. And then this one here, the last one, 454.60, hit on November the 13th, and then 2 months later, it lost half its value at 227, and here it stands today at over 1100. So just thought I would share this for you, that this is the timeline history so far of the major retracements. Take care and have yourself a great day.